In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how Serge Gatari was able to make $51,776 in under 4 hours. Now, he did this using a simple funnel called the webinar funnel. A lot of people are doing this right now. And if you guys don't know who Serge Gatari is, he's basically a entrepreneur who sells a mentorship on SMMA in a certain type. Obviously, it's like AI and stuff like that, but that's in a nutshell. Now, basically, we're going to be going over a couple simple things. There's the actual traffic aspect of it, there's the funnel, there's the back-end marketing, the webinar itself, and the back-end sales. So at the end of this video, I'm actually going to be breaking down the entire webinar from top to bottom. So make sure that you stick around to the end for that. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So basically, it's very simple. We're going to start off with traffic, and we're going to break down what he was doing for traffic. So for traffic, it's very simple, right? He had Instagram and YouTube as the main two things of traffic, and then he also had ads, which we'll break down as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the promotion for this webinar, especially for paid ads, started on September 1st, and the webinar was on September 6th. So before I get into the traffic, there's actually 3 periods of time. Basically, there's 3 periods that go into a webinar. There's the promotion period, there's the collecting cash on the front end, which is on the actual webinar, and there's collecting cash on the back end. So the promotion period in this case was only 6 days. Now, collecting cash was like roughly 4.5 hours, and then collecting cash on the back end was 2 to 4 days. So when it comes down to traffic, like I said, there's literally Instagram and YouTube, right? So we break down Instagram. Here's his Instagram profile. As you can see on YouTube, this is his YouTube channel as well. So what he was doing was on Instagram, he had these DMCTA reels. So basically he had these reels, as you can see here, who's ready to cook. If you don't have a seat yet, comment AI for a link to the webinar. This one right here, comment AI for the link, 100 seats available, comment AI, and I'll send you a link to our next AI growth for our masterclass. So he was running these lead magnet reels where he would get people to comment AI, and you can see a bunch of people were opting in. So he would get people to opt in for his webinar from there, right? And then he also did a story Q&A. So this was the story Q&A he did roughly a little bit before the webinar. It's like ask me a question. A lot of people are doing this right now that are running webinars. They'll do ask me a question, ask me anything, whatever. And basically, they'll share like insights, they'll share tips on certain things, and they'll also share things that break limiting beliefs, that actually make people want to go in the direction that they're kind of presenting. So that's another thing as well. You can see like what made you reach this far, top 3 movies and TV shows, and then the last one, when is the webinar, what time, and then he plugged the webinar link on the story, right? So for Instagram, it was very simple. He just had the link to the webinar in his bio, and he was doing these reels, and then he was doing story Q&A. That's literally it. Now for YouTube, very similar thing. He had the opt-in link in the side of his YouTube bio. And then he made, I think, a total of 3 videos. No, he made 2 videos. He made this one and this one, and both of them were plugging like the actual, the webinar opt-in link. So as you can see in his bio, the webinar opt-in link is here. And inside of this video here that he posted on September 1st, he went ahead and he put it inside the description of this video as well. So that's literally it for YouTube and Instagram. He just had it in his bios. He was promoting it inside of his videos. Very simple, right? Now, when it comes to ads, he had a bunch of different ads. Like I think these were all of the ads that he had running. It was a good amount of ads. I'm not gonna lie. It was like a decent amount because inside of these, like when you click see summary details, it'll say like 3 ads, 3 ads, 3 ads, 3 ads. So he was spending a good amount of money on ads. I don't know exactly how much money, but he was also doing paid ads, and paid ads started on September 1st. So he ran ads from September 1st until September 5th. I believe they cut it off there, or they ran some till the 6th. But for 5-6 days, he was running ads, and then he was also promoting his webinar opt-in link, like for the funnel, on his YouTube. So that's literally it for traffic. Now, after traffic, you guys might be wondering what actually comes after the traffic portion, right? That's the funnel itself. So he then funnels everybody into the opt-in page, getting people to opt in, watch the VSL, all that stuff. So we're gonna break it down. So here's the opt-in page. Actually, what he was doing this time is a lot of people will sell the webinar for free. He was actually selling $27 seats. Now I know the screenshot is a little bit blurry, so forgive me for that, but he was selling tickets to the webinar for $27. So he was kind of running like one of those self-liquidating funnels where it's like you spend money on ads and it just pays itself back because you have like a low ticket offer on the front end. So he wasn't really spending too much money on ads. That wasn't actually like, that he was just losing money. He was also making it back from the webinar tickets. Now, obviously, I've mapped out all of the different sections on these landing pages. I'm not going to go into them too much in depth, but I'm just going to go over the landing page real quick, right? Obviously, there's the headline, there's the VSL, the CTA, but for webinar landing pages, they also have these timers, like these countdowns, like, 18 hours, 11 minutes for urgency. And then they also have like limited to 100 seats or spots are going quick. That's also for urgency. And then underneath that, there's going to be like an info section, another CTA, some more urgency, more info, urgency, CTA. It's like it follows a very simple framework, but The rest of the landing page is literally just information and then case studies, as you can see. It's literally just a bunch of case studies all the way to the back here. And then he had a risk reversal at the end as well, which was the money back guarantee for, I guess, the webinar ticket itself. And then obviously CTA again, urgency again, CTA again. So once people actually went ahead and clicked on this button here, which is, join and build release AR webinar now, it would take you to this thing. Now, pretty sure this was actually built on Go High Level. I just know from the pop-up. So do first name, last name, email, phone number. Once you enter all that stuff, now they have your information. You are now a lead inside of their system, but then it would just take you to the WAP page where you would just pay $27 for the webinar ticket. Once you pay for the webinar ticket, obviously it would send you an email with all the stuff. It would send you an email going over, like, here's your ticket, whatever. But then it would take you to this thank you page, or it's not exactly a thank you page. A thank you page comes after. This is like an upsell page or a cross sell page, whatever you want to call it. But this was for a VIP ticket, and Iman Ghazi is actually doing the exact same thing right now with his webinar that he has coming up in the end of September. If you guys go out and check out his landing page, and then you go and opt in, it's going to take you to a page where it's like one last step, claim this VIP ticket before you access the webinar or something like that. But basically, right here, it starts off with a $27 product, and then once you opt in for that, you buy it, they try to upsell you to a $97 product. So this was a $97 VIP ticket. He had same thing. He had a header, VSL, CTA, and then just an info and about section. And it would basically include everything that it gives you for the $97 ticket, right? So very short landing page here for the ticket. It was literally just like VSL, CTA, info section, and then another CTA. That's it. Obviously, I didn't buy the VIP ticket. I just wanted access to the webinar itself. So obviously, I hit no, I'll skip this opportunity for now. But if you click yes, I want VIP access immediately, obviously it will take you to this page where it's the WAP page for the checkout for the $97 ticket. Now, once you click no, it actually has another pop-up which prompts you to want to buy again. And then once you click no, thanks, I'll figure it out alone, then it takes you to the thank you page. So on the thank you page, simple framework again. It's mostly case studies on the thank you page. This is for lead nurturing, but there's also 3 important steps. The first one is to join the WhatsApp group, which I'll be going over later. The second one is to add the event to the calendar, and then the third one is access the Zoom link in case you can't find the Zoom link. Now, simple framework for thank you page as well. It's literally just a header, and then the next steps, and then literally just case studies, a bunch of screenshots. That's it. So that's the entire funnel that he was running, right? Like his funnel was very simple. It literally just consisted of like three different landing pages that all served their own purpose. So now, once you're inside of their system, once you're inside of their funnel, what happens next is there's back-end marketing. Now, one thing I've realized is that back-end marketing is literally the backbone of webinars, because you can promote the webinar as much as you want to on the front end, meaning like inside of content, inside of, your stories, your ads. But the truth is, if you don't have any back-end marketing, such as like, emails, SMS, WhatsApp group, like whatever it might be, if you don't have any of these things for like lead nurturing and basically just like getting people excited, it's not going to work out so well, because the webinars are basically like info launches. If you think about it, they're mini info launches. And obviously, like, if you've done info launches before and you're someone who, does info launches for your own offer, you would know that there's a lot of back-end marketing that goes into it to get people hyped. Now, by the way, before I go ahead and get into the back-end marketing, I just want to preface that if you want something like this built out, fully done for you, if you want this type of system implemented into your info business to help you scale to, 70, 80, 100K per month, just go ahead and DM me on Instagram and we can chat, see if we can help you out. Anyways, let's get into the back-end marketing. So there's 2 different channels here, right? There's email and there's WhatsApp. Now, when it comes to email, obviously when you first buy the ticket, there is the welcome email, right? So it's like you get a welcome email, it's time to build and release AI. Hey name, first things first, thank you for being the type of person who believes in themselves, yada, yada, yada. The main things about this email is that there's 3 things on here, or 4 things, right? Number 1, they get you to add the calendar. Number 2, they get you to join the WhatsApp group. Number 3, they say watch for the bonus drop, whatever. I don't even know if this was a thing. Maybe it was, maybe I just missed it, I don't know. And then the last thing is he would tell you to subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is pretty smart because that's also going to nurture you, so he knows what he's doing there. Now, the last thing at the bottom of this email is he would get you to want to upgrade to the VIP ticket. Iman is also doing the exact same thing in his emails right now as well. But this was the welcome email when you first buy the ticket. Now, I do want to be fully transparent. I did buy the ticket on like September 4th or September 5th, so there wasn't too many emails that were going out, but there still was quite an amount. So let's go over them. The next one on September 6th was a reminder 20 minutes before. So say, hey, name, we're 20 minutes away from going live with Build and Release AI. He talks about what they're going to be going over. That's it. It's just a 20-minute or pre-20-minute reminder. Then when the event actually went live, there was another reminder. Hey, name, we've just gone live with our proven framework for building, releasing AI infrastructures. They have the link there. And then there's a second reminder for the webinar starting. So the webinar started 12 p.m. EST. Roughly like an hour and a half later, there was a second reminder email to get people to join again, because it was a pretty long webinar, right? So a little bit into the webinar, they had another email. And then after the webinar ended, there was the replay of the live event. So they had the replay for the live event here. And those are all the emails that they had. After that, there's a WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp group is really simple. There was like the announcements, which is pretty much inactive. It was just that was kind of meant to just go ahead and funnel you into the group here. Now, as you can see, this group is pretty active, and it's still active to this day somehow. I don't know what's going on in there, but inside of this group, Serge was basically like sending messages, or it was supposedly him, sending messages like, oh, get ready guys, who's ready, whatever. People were pretty active and stuff. Now, there wasn't anything sent in the WhatsApp group in terms of like any nurture post or anything. It was very simple. So that's literally the back-end marketing of this entire kind of the thing. Like, there wasn't too much back-end marketing that went into this webinar, I'm not going to lie. Simply because Serge Gatari does webinars very often, so he kind of has like a pretty simple ramp-up process from one to the other one, but they still make a lot of money. Next, I want to break down the webinar itself. So now we've gone to the period of collecting cash on the front end. So this is obviously roughly 4.5 hours, on the webinar itself. The webinar follows a simple framework, and literally every single webinar follows pretty much the exact same framework. The first part of the webinar was going through the opportunity. So what he started off with was, he started off with hooking the audience by showing that AI and the right business model is a huge income potential. So what he did was he started with a bunch of case studies, right? He talked about the 16-year-old selling AI growth infrastructure, 52K a week, 100K a month within 5 months. He talked about the agency helping med spas went from struggling 70K a month by repositioning offers as AI systems. Talked about someone from Philippines who's 19 years old who closed their first 2 10K deals in 1 month. And he frames AI as a tool, not the main driver. So I'm just breaking down the webinar itself just so you guys can understand what he kind of did. It's not too important, the details. It's more so the framework that remains the same. He told people that AI is just a multiplier. Without momentum, it doesn't matter. And he built intrigue by saying, knowing what I know now, I'd be doing you a disservice by saying AI is why you'll succeed. So I'm not going to lie. He started off the webinar with a lot of curiosity and a lot of urgency and a lot of like FOMO for the people that were on it, because he made it seem like this was this crazy thing and it wasn't actually the AI itself that was going to make people money. It was something else. After this, he went into the story of himself / context. So the goal here is to build credibility and show the principle works personally and for others. So what he did was he told his pivot story. He talked about how he had a 28K per month agency and he realized low ticket time for money model was a ceiling. So he switched it to selling high ticket package transformations. He scaled to 500K a month, then $1 million every 90 days in 2022. And then he used the example of Alex Hormozi. So talked about, this is very smart by the way, he used someone else's authority on a call full of people that were sophisticated enough to understand that authority, because it was literally just an older audience on here. But he used the example of Hormozi. He said that gym business failing despite skills and discipline, which is what Hormozi, was going ahead and talking about. And then he talked about how Hormozi pivoted to selling to gym owners, which is nationwide high ticket leverage delivery, and he made $3 million profit in 6 months, $17 million in the next 12 months. The lesson he was trying to teach here is the vehicle matters more than effort or skill. So he was just talking about the vehicle itself. Now, then he went over more case studies, and the goal here was to show social proof across all different markets to make audience think if it works there, it can work for me, or if it works for him, it can work for me too. And what he did was he gave some niche examples. He talked about dental clinics, HVAC, construction, law firms, and the pattern across them was he talked about repositioning generic service into AI growth infrastructure. So the case studies was kind of another mental shift that he was kind of going ahead and doing. Now, this is where there was like the most technicality, which was when he was actually giving the value. So this is the next part of mostly every webinar. It goes going to the opportunity, story of the person, case studies, and then the value. So the goal here obviously is to deliver value that positions this program as a missing piece. So what he did was he introduced 5 leverages: the AI market leverage, replication leverage, pricing leverage, acquisition leverage, and trend leverage. And then he broke down the small business gap, broke down the 3 pillars for success: attention, growth architecture, growth infrastructure. And then he drives home that tools without playbooks are useless. And this went into his pitch, because his pitch was talking about, we're going to give you the playbooks to success after serving hundreds and thousands of people. Take the playbooks so that you can get to that level as well. But this was the point that he had to make beforehand. And then he went into more case studies. This is to reinforce that attention, plus growth architecture, and infrastructure works. And so what he did was he talked about faceless content remodeling business, which had like 60K followers, 835 leads, 500K in 6 months, no personal brand, just AI generated content. He references a lot of big names for proof. After that, he transitioned into the pitch. So he moved from the what to how to get it without doing it alone. So he warned that, you're competing with giants like ChatGPT, they'll give away your business model. Don't play in low barrier markets. That's a race to the bottom on the price. Everybody's trying to undercut each other. And he advocates targeting undeserved SMB niches. So he talked about high profit margin, pain they can't solve on their own, will pay 10 to 25K for predictable client acquisition. And then this is where the transition into the pitch actually came. He said, like, we've helped over 1,500 providers implement this exact playbook. We can shortcut it for you. And then came the CTA. So the way his offer worked was kind of interesting. The goal here obviously is present the offer, make it sound like the obvious next step. So what he did was, here's the offer, leverage AI company blueprint. The price was $5,800 one time if you pay in full, but if not, then it's 7.5K. So there was an incentive to want to pay right on the spot and collect as much cash upfront as possible, which is also really smart. And the promise here was to build a 50K per month AI business within 6 to 12 months, done with you model, pick niche, build offer, install systems, get first high ticket sales. The $5,800 one time, if you pay in full, the way it kind of worked was, in order to buy it, you would have to book a call. But the way he framed it was to book a call to see if you're a good fit for us to onboard. Because he mentioned this offer as like, we're onboarding 10 partners. He wasn't like, oh, just buy the mentorship. He's like, no, we're onboarding 10 partners. He made it seem very one-on-one, very close. So he said, in order for us to onboard you, we need to talk to you first and we need to see if we can actually work with you. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a $1,000 refundable deposit to go ahead and secure your spot. And if it doesn't make sense to you, to us, we'll just give you your money back. But this is a $1,000 deposit to lock in your price because the spots are going to go fast. And a bunch of people literally just started buying in the chat. They're like, oh, I just paid the $1,000 deposit. And there was like team members saying, oh, here's a link to book a call. Here's a link to book a call. So here's like the WAP page for the $1,000 link. I just took a screenshot of it. Now, after that is FOMO, urgency, and scarcity. So then the goal was to get them to decide now instead of saying, I'll think about it later. And what he did was he talked about the AI gold rush window and it's going to close, niches are going to saturate, position the offer as limited to the right people, not for those unwilling to follow the model. And he mentioned that the offer is going to expire at midnight or when they onboard 10 people. So he said September 6th, when we were on the webinar, he's like, if you guys are watching this right now, you guys are here right now, this offer is going to expire at midnight, 12 a.m. or when we onboard 10 partners. And he's like, to be honest, we're probably going to onboard 10 partners way before that. So yeah, but the offer is going to expire September 7th at midnight if we don't onboard 10 partners by then. And then they had the Q&A. So on the Q&A, the goal is to handle objections, reinforce value, and to basically break limiting beliefs of people. It's one to many. So if you answer more questions and you break more beliefs, more people are going to buy and they're going to be more incentivized to want to buy. So what he did was he took live questions while still screen sharing the software, and he literally did like live demos, live examples, and he uses answers to reinstate core beliefs and address hesitations. This was the entire webinar framework, right? Like I hope that's valuable to you guys in terms of how the webinar actually went. So that's the collecting cash on the front end period. And I'm going to break down the KPIs, like the numbers of the actual webinar later on, like after I go over the back end side. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to see how much money he actually made and break down the math behind it. Now, next up is back end sales. So this is within the next 2 to 4 days. And obviously here, there's two different things. Number one is the book a call page, right? Like where people would get redirected to once they go ahead and they actually pay the $1,000 deposit. They would get redirected here to this thank you page. Or not a thank you page, book a call page. And then after the event was done, he went in the WhatsApp group chat, or somebody on with his name on the account, went to the WhatsApp group chat, dropped the link to the Zoom recording, and he said, if you want to apply for yesterday's offer to work with us, you have until midnight to schedule a call using this link. We've opened extra slots for tomorrow. So he already made it seem so urgent by saying midnight, September 7th, it's done. And then he said, oh, you have until midnight now, the next day, to go ahead and book a call. So literally 2 days CTA book a call, right? So that's like the tactics he used to go ahead and literally get people to buy on the call and after the call. Now, if we break down the numbers, a couple things going on here. We have all the facts, right? $1,000 deposit to lock in the spot, $27 ticket to attend, $7,500 if you don't piff, $5,800 if you piff. Now, we break down the numbers here, okay? 288 people showed up on the Zoom call. I don't know how many people were in the WhatsApp group. I forgot to check. But at the beginning of the call, there was 288 people. So for $27, that's automatically 7.7K. 15 to 20 people paid the 1K deposit and booked a call via chat indications. When I was inside the chat, I literally manually counted people, and I think like 15 to 20 different people said, oh, I just paid the 1,000, just paid the deposit. And his team members were replying to them saying, great, book a call here, book a call here. So that's another 15 to 20K. Now, 15 to 20K deposits, let's say 20K, plus 24,000 if closing rate for the PIF is 25%. Because obviously if people pay 1,000, they only have to pay 4,800. So if, let's say 15 to 20 people book a call and 25% of them close on 4,800, that's another 24,000 PIF, if my numbers are not wrong, okay? Now, the total just from public indicators is roughly 50K. I put 50K because this is like the bare minimum that he could have made. He probably made close to 100K off this webinar. Just, you couldn't see it because it all happened on the back end. That's where the real money is made. It's on the back end because most people won't buy right off the rip. So, yes, he did make 51,000, but in reality, he literally probably made close to 100K. Like if you were to ask me, my guess is probably 70, 80K realistically, because obviously not everybody's going to pay in full. Some people are going to end up, paying 7,500 payment plan, and that just literally adds another almost another 2K on top of this 5,800. So that's like an extra 2K revenue. And obviously, I mean 80K, 90K revenue, not cash collected. That's literally the entire breakdown for the whole system, A to Z. I hope this video is valuable for you guys, and I hope you went ahead and you took away how to actually implement this for yourself and what it looks like behind the scenes. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want the system implemented into your info business to help you scale, fully done for you, then just go ahead and DM me on Instagram. We can talk. We can see if I can help you out. Other than that, once again, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. I have some more webinar videos coming up soon, which I'm very excited to drop. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That's all. Peace. Take care.